It also seems like we're seeing a lot of tech companies trying to, ride on the coattails of some of the more successful companies like Groupon,
Oh yes, the
Zynga,
Groupon clones.
a number of others. Do you feel like there is a bit too much of that going on? And if so, could that have any kind of effect on the tech industry going forward?
When we started Reddit and people started talking about Web 2.0 and this next sort of bubble, there was a lot of Me Too copying going around social networking. The idea of like, oh, let's throw avatars and let's give people an excuse to poke one another. That was such a hip thing to do, and every site went out of its way to add social features, even if it was about the most unrelated thing. And it was like, oh, it's a video site for accountants. Let's make sure that they can, poke one another, or they can write on each other's walls. And I think that we're seeing this again. What makes it all the more seductive with Groupon, though, is you can't deny the fact that they have, at least for this period of time, been so ludicrously successful in terms of profitability that, it's one thing to copy a silly feature from a social networking site because, like, oh, it's what all the cool kids are doing, or it's what the darlings of the valley or the web are doing. But it's it's 10 times more appealing to be like, all we have to do is make a Groupon for blank. And they fill in the blank with whatever niche thing it is, and it's like, oh my God, we can be making, and all the dollar signs start coming out. But in the short term, they're doing fabulously well, and there'll be lots of clones. Most of them will all fade away. But when it comes to worrying about a bubble bursting, there is so little money going into, well, most of them. There is so little money at least required for so many of these clones that the fallout from it, no matter how crazy valuations are at least getting at the moment, is not going to be that significant because there's really not that much money being put into it because most sane founders realize I don't need to give up that much equity, I don't need that much money because, right now the biggest thing, the hardest thing to get, the most expensive thing to get is talent.